Hello and welcome to Not So PG. I'm producer Chae, and before we get started with this episode, I'd like to acknowledge the custodians of the land on which we record. For me, that is the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation. Now, Brooke and Matty are off sick today, so I thought I'd take you back and have a look at some of the best bits from this year. Matty and Brooke will be back on board from next week.
Obviously, we had that massive night on Friday night. We only finished work at midnight, and then we decided to go dancing. And but it wasn't for a long time. It was for a quick time. We were out for about 3 hours, and we got a lot done in that time.
I mean, 3 hours is enough for me. You know me. I actually am just like such a sleep queen, and then. Bloody hell, I am so shit at dancing. So, like, I just dance.
As if you are.
No, I just dance for fun. And you know this. You know that I just, like, I love dancing and the movement. But, like, what I think that I look like to what I'm actually doing is not the same. Like,
You know what I love about this? Live in that fantasy, girl. Live in the fantasy. Don't look in the mirror. Just pretend that you're having your moment and live in that moment.
We did. When I was looking back at the weekend, like I honestly had the best weekend, and especially with everything that's going on in my life at the moment, I was like, I needed that.
Yeah.
So like Friday we hosted that gala night. Saturday we just like chilled out. Sunday we
had a zen moment.
Well, yeah, Sunday we went for a beautiful walk and then went to a pub in the afternoon, and that turned into like a really good night as well.
Yes.
And then we presented an award at the Podcast Awards. So it's been busy. It's been a bit chaotic.
It's so funny because we were the fourth award of the night at the Australian Podcast Awards, and unfortunately, due to the weather in Melbourne, the planes weren't able to take off or land in Sydney as well. And some of the recipients didn't make the awards, and one of those recipients was the Best Indigenous Podcast Award, which went to Hi, I'm Eddie, and basically we were on stage. We presented the award. We didn't have any intel that they weren't coming up to present. But once I realised that, you know, the recipient wasn't in the room, I just said, you know what? Well, if one of us wins, we all win. And Brooke and I will take this award.
I honestly thought they were running on blackfella time. I was like, these mob taking a long time to come up. Like, I was like, where are they? Like, looking into the crowd. And then when you said that, I was like, bravo.
You know why? I was like, we have 30 awards to get through, and if we're standing here for another 20 seconds, then we're going to get clapped off because people want to get through this. So I was like, I better say something. But look, it was a genuine thing. I think that when one of us does win, or when one of us is elevated on a platform, our whole community responds. So it's like, congratulations to Hi, I'm Eddie, but also to the other incredible nominees in that category. And Mitch Churi was an incredibly funny host. He really was great. I was like, okay, this is goals. I'm listening. I'm taking on some. I need to be more funny. I'm good at speaking. I just need to be more funny. The Wiggles won Best Australian Live Act.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we were all like, yeah, so cool. Like, there's such a new generation of love for the Wiggles. They've obviously been like absolutely killing it, but they've got this incredible new diverse cast, which is a celebration of what this country now is, right? It's a diverse country. We have people from all different walks of life and communities. And I think the Wiggles are doing a great job at representing that. So Sahai gets up, who is a great, talented member of the Wiggles, and she's like basically the face of the Wiggles these days. She's one of the frontliners, and she accepts the award, and everyone's with her, the whole team, the whole cast, and she starts to speak and accept the award and say how important it is for the Wiggles to be winning this award at this point in their career, blah, 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 blah. And I overhear these two ladies standing next to me, and one of them says, why is she accepting the award? It should be Anthony Wiggle. Give the trophy to Anthony Wiggle. And her friend turns to her and goes, it's because she's black, duh, but they need to keep the politics out of this. And then her friend goes, I agree. And I just turned to them and I was like, excuse me, I just heard exactly what went down here and like heard the conversation, and then went on to explain to them how important positive representation is and how incredible it is to see a young black woman accepting this award. And their response was, well, he should be talking, the blue Anthony Wiggle, because he's been in it for years. And as they said that, Sahai introduced him, was like, please welcome Anthony Wiggle, to sort of wrap up the acceptance speech. And so all I said to them was, and she just introduced him, of course she's not taking a moment away from someone, but this moment is rightfully hers, and rightfully she represents the new cast of the Wiggles. Like, why are you so threatened by a young, successful black woman accepting a trophy?
I completely agree. I can't believe this has all gone down at the Arias. I thought it was a celebration of, like, Australian artists, and we're still having to defend ourselves even in those celebrations. Like, it's shit, and those people obviously are the group of people that will never change. They'll never understand what it's like to be First Nations and what maybe the true history of Australia is, and the truth.
Yeah, and I always go into these conversations, go into these interactions with a motive to educate and not to tear someone down. So when I said to them, I heard everything that you said, and this is why it's important, I actually thought that they might have come to the table and said, well, thanks for explaining that. I didn't look at it that way. No, they doubled down, defended themselves, and wanted Anthony Wiggle to be the star, which he is. Like, good on him, but like just.
But the old boy's getting old. He's like, the younger generation's going to be coming through now. Like, he can't, he's not a robot. He can't do the Wiggles, like, forever, unfortunately. As much as we'd love to, he has been doing it forever. He's been doing it since I was little. So I get it, but we've got to set up our new generation, and it seems like not a lot of people are that open-minded to what the new generation looks like.
Yeah, you're spot on there, and it was blatant at the Aries. But what I will say is that, as I said, 98% of the night was great. Loved working with Sony Music, had the time of my life, felt fabulous in my, white suit. I felt like I was getting married to the Australian music industry.
Don't cheat on me, bitch.
I know, right?
I'm not attending Fashion Week, but you know what? I'm going to give them what they've been asking for anyway. And I get to control the narrative. So I posted a thirst trap on Insta this week, and that's all you're getting for Fashion Week. Not the clothes, but the body. The body, honey.
I was going to say, this orange shirt that you're wearing, Matty, it's like really defining your muscles.
Oh, is it?
And so I can see, your pipes.
Well, you really want to know why I'm wearing this? It's definitely not a fashion statement for Fashion Week. So see that mark there? I was viciously attacked.
By what? The hickey monster?
A handsome man.
You got a hickey from a handsome man.
I do. And I'm so embarrassed by it. And I didn't even realise I had it until I went to PT. Well, I sort of realised that I had it, but I didn't realise the extent of what it would come up as. And then I went to PT this morning and totally forgot that it was like a small bruise. Remember I sent you a photo?
Yeah.
And it was small.
It was
light. And then I went to PT this morning, and the first thing my PT is like, what is that on your neck? I was like, oh, I totally forgot. And I had like a really like thin singlet, so my whole neck and trap was just like showing, and this fucking hickey right here. Oh, Lord. Anyway, I want to talk about this because I'm somebody who I don't enjoy rough sex. One, right? Like I'm not.
Who does?
Well, some people.
I guess there's people.
Some people like it. So some people like to like be rough in the bedroom. I'm the total opposite. Like I want like, I'm in my soft boy era. Like I want cuddles and soft kisses, and that's the foreplay for me, right? So like
sensual.
I don't want like, I'm gonna eat your neck off.
I don't want no vampire motherfuckers.
And but like, so I met this guy, and he's the first guy that I've had to my apartment, and
oh, okay, yeah.
It's not going to go anywhere because there's a situation that I'm not even going to go into, so it's absolutely not going anywhere. But he's oh my God, he's beautiful, so beautiful, to the point where he was like, should we go back to your place? And I was like, umming and ahhing. I was like, this is the first guy that I'm going to have back to mine. Should I do it? And I was like, okay. Within 3 seconds, I was like, okay.
Yeah, the little short process. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then he stayed over.
Oh, so like morning cuddles? Morning.
No, he left pretty early, which was good because I had things to do. But yeah, he like. But this is what it gets me. I invite someone over and I wake up with a bruise. It's like, was it worth it?
I'd say it's a love tag.
A love tag. Isn't it called a love bite?
Oh, it is too.
A love bite. No.
Who even, if someone fucking bites me, I'm like, fucking.
You know what? Like,
I'm like, do fucking not. When people grab my tits like so hard.
When people grab my tits.
I'm like, don't. They literally, it hurts.
Yeah.
Like, don't.
I'm not one
It just
for that.
annoys the fuck out of me. Anyways, I do not like rough sex. I do love sensual, love sort of making sex. But
Yep. But you
no
know what's the
hickeys,
funny thing
no
is?
biting,
we
no
didn't-
fucking.
We
Sorry.
didn't even have sex. We didn't have sex.
Oh, it was just foreplay.
So we didn't have sex and I ended up with a fucking love bite. How the fuck do you, how does that happen?
Can't comprehend.
Yeah.
So it was hot and heavy. Just
Well,
also,
I mean,
can I ask a question
Yeah.
on this sex thing?
Yes.
Because when someone's having sex with you
yeah.
and they don't make any noise, is that icky?
If they're just staring at you,
Yeah, with their beady little eyes.
girl, I will be like, I will feel for the pulse and be like, are you alive?
I had to stop halfway through once and just be like, are you fucking enjoying this? Because
A quick
don't-
Q&A. Could I get a survey?
are you okay? You feeling all right?
Frozen in time.
I just thought,
Oh.
you're not even moaning. You're not giving me any validation as if I'm like fucking sexy or anything.
You're like, I'm working my ass off here and what am I getting? Just a stare?
literally dead.
Oi, that is funny. That is
It is
very
funny. It's such a good story and
Yeah.
it's so funny because now I look at it and if anyone like doesn't make noise or gives me something, I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Fuck right off. Yeah, it's not my
you know
thing.
what?
Like,
I
give me
think
a little bit of a
the
moan,
noise
like,
or the
yeah.
moan. Oh yeah, the noise or the moan is half the turn on, right? The noise is the
100%.
sensory of that sound is what sort of, you know, is one of the best parts. So that's very odd.
It is odd. And
Yeah.
then I just wasn't vibing it from that. Like, I
Okay.
was like, nah, not again.
Well, you
Ever
want to know
again. See you,
something
bye.
interesting that's happened over the last 2 weeks? I've gotten with 2 girls in the last 2 weeks.
Oh my God, he's in his bisexual era.
And when I say gotten with girls, I've hooked up with them. No, I haven't had sex, but I've hooked up with 2 girls in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
How funny. Like, what's going on here?
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was great, especially the second one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So one was a beautiful black woman from Paris who was like she lived here for a little while, but she's actually French, black French, stunning. Oh my God, I have to send you a photo. And then the other one was her friend.
Sharing is caring, babe. Sharing is caring.
I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Kissing these women. Anyway, it's all good.
You're in your soft boy era and obviously exploring your bisexuality. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like, no regrets.
this.
I'm into it.
No regret. I'm just so happy that you're in a much lighter mood. Like, obviously, the last couple of episodes we've done, you've had a lot going on.
Yes.
And it's, things have shifted for you. And I feel like you're, a little bit more lighter.
Last week it was a really difficult time. This week is going to be tough at the end of the week. I have my auntie's funeral, but we also had another tragedy in the family. So my cousin passed away. So it's a tough time for my family, but I'm really excited to go home at the end of the week and be there for my dad and my brothers, and we're gonna do a beautiful send off for my auntie. And I think that my cousin will have a very small funeral and just like a very intimate setting. It's really sad what happened to him. So I just think it's a really tough time for my family, but I've sort of pulled myself out of that really heavy spot because I know that I need to be on my game when I go home in terms of just being able to support my family. So I'm actually feeling a lot better. Yeah. A lot
That's
wiser.
good.
Yeah.
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 But it's, yeah. I mean, when we spoke about, Fashion Week and like sort of setting in boundaries and doing all the things that you need to do for yourself, like I think you're doing exactly what you need to do, which is good.
Speaking of mental health, I signed up to do like a group therapy session.
Wow.
With a men's group.
Oh.
I know. And so I had like a look online and I was like thinking, I want to hear other people's stories and I want to like also connect with other men who are like on the same journey, right? So I signed up to do, it's like an online, like it's almost like a course, but it's not a course. It's sort of just like a get together and people are able to share stories and blah, blah, blah. And so my first one is on Thursday morning, just before I go home. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Look at you go.
Yes.
Group therapy is great.
I've never done group therapy. Always been open to an orgy. Therapy. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. I've come in with a hickey and now I'm a whore. Obviously, like I'm signed up to my group therapy, and which I'm really excited about it. But
I'm excited for you too.
yeah,
I'll be excited to see what comes from it.
Yeah, and I think it's just an online thing where everyone sort of logs on and has like an hour to discuss things and share and blah, blah, blah. But I also had the idea this week that I wanted to be better with my finances. So it's like I've worked hard enough now to be able to be, to be able to buy my own stuff and feel really comfortable with myself and my spending. But I want to be able when I was growing up, I never got told what to do with my money or how to invest my money or even things like tax and stuff. A lot of blackfellas, a lot of my friends, who I speak to about this stuff, like when we were younger, we just never got taught how to properly spend or be frugal or be able to invest our money wisely. So I'm actually on the hunt for a financial advisor or counselor to be able to help me with my spending, and it's going to be like I'm going to start to do a bit of a salary sacrifice where my money comes in and I put a percentage of it away and invest a percentage of my money, or I save a bit and invest a bit. And so my manager is currently helping me sort of figure this out because we looked at sort of what was coming in over the last year, and it's like, okay, we're at a level now where we can really start to think about this because I don't want to just be able to make money and then not know what is the payoff. Like, yes, the money's one thing, but when I'm 40 years old, what do I have? What are the assets that I have? What are the investments that I have that are going to help me more long term? So I'm starting to sort of change the dial with my spending instead of just being like, oh, yeah, you get paid and, you don't worry about where it goes.
I think this is really important because I think the main word you used was long term.
Yeah.
And I think what I've learned over the years of sort of since 2018 per se, so only in the 5 years that I've been part of this industry, is I'm very good at saving. I think because I've lived with very little, that money for me is quite precious, and I make a lot go from a little.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm very generous with my friends and money. I think I'm very generous with my family and friends with money.
Yes.
But within myself and like, other people or other things, I'm like, nah, I'd rather just keep saving and saving. So I definitely feel like I'm on that journey with you.
Yeah.
But then when post-bachelorette, when you sort of get this big influx of money, you're like, fuck, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
For me, it was just like sitting there, and obviously you get taxed on it, and having a business, you have to do tax, etc. But again, like, who do you look to for help with this?
Yeah.
So unless, and I think this is also really important. I think blackfellas don't really know how to manage their money. We see a lot of, and not to generalize as well, by the way, but we see a lot of footballers.
Yep.
They get drafted at these young ages of like 18. They, get paid all of this money to play this sport. Then they have an injury, and that sort of impacts their career, and then they're basically left with nothing.
Yeah.
And we're setting them up for failure. And I think now there's more programs a part of, these industries that are offering that support, which is really important. But it's kind of like always word of mouth, like who you know. Like you kind of have to reach out and find, I feel like, people who you might know that look like they've got the shit together, or might know, like, you know, where to go with that sort of stuff. I mean, I did personally. I asked my tax accountant. I was like, hey, look, I want to invest. Like, where do I put my money?
Yeah.
I work so hard for every single cent. I'm like, I'm not going to throw it away for some fucking, like, inconsistent data thing. Like, no way. Not data. You know what I mean?
Totally, yeah. It's a big risk.
It is.
Yeah.
And, I mean, probably other mob feel the exact same way with their money, like, you know, saving every single little penny. Like, but I would give my last $20, obviously, to my family, you know, like
totally.
we're very generous in that sense.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like with my spending and saving, I've kind of got a little bit more stingy over the years.
Yeah, which is a good thing. I think that's good. Like, for being a bit more frugal is something that I aspire to be.
Well, I was 18 and I was working for a mining company. Don't hold it against me.
Yeah.
And I was on some big money.
Yep.
And one of their values, ironically, which they're a mining company, like, let's be honest, was frugality. And so I learned how to make a lot from a little, from a young age. And so I knew sort of, and I had that skill in this company, and they really really admired that, which was great. But then I was like, this conflicts with my values, so I left. But it also, like, set me up for my future. Like, definitely being on a good paycheck at a very young age kind of set me up. But yeah, I got into some debt as well. Like, I was a bit stupid with my money. I bought a car, and so I was in debt for like 5 years. Uni bills, you know, like, hex, there's a lot. But I think now, like, picking and choosing where I want to work and, you know, knowing my value and knowing my worth also really, really helps with that.
Yeah. I think one of the main things for me is I like to spend, and I like to spend in ways that I probably shouldn't. Like, I like the idea of, you know, I have a bougie mindset. And I need to, like, just live a little bit under that, because sometimes I find that I'll just let things go. Like, I'll just spend on, you know, A, B, C, D, F, G, and then regret that I've spent, because it's not an investment. It's just literally throwing money away, you know? So, like, I feel like I need to be more strategic in what I'm spending my money on, but also I give a lot of money away to my family, you know? So I think that I need to figure out what is a good balance between being a good person who supports their mob and someone who is able to still be generous, but also maybe not in a financial way.
Again, it's like the boundaries that you want to have in place that will sort of be able to determine, like, you know, what you can and can't, like, what you can do and what you feel like isn't your responsibility. But I mean, it's hard because family are always, you know, so you know, you always want to give back to your family and community and help them and, you know, elevate them. But at the same time, you're like, well, do I have the means to do this?
Yep.
Not a lot of people know this. I mean, my brothers found themselves in a lot of debt. And when I got my bachelorette paycheck, which is such a weird thing to think that I got paid to fall in love. Isn't that weird? But I was also getting paid to film a TV show. So I guess that's what I sort of see it as.
Yeah.
You know, I helped support my family get out of their debt.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, I guess it was a bit annoying, to be honest. I know that sounds really inconsiderate, but it was just annoying. Like, I had to fix other people's problems, like, that weren't my own.
Totally.
But that's what you sort of do for family. And now they sort of, you know, not pay me back in ways, but I feel like our relationship is better because they're not so stressed out.
Yes.
And they're not so, like, holding that and carrying that burden of that debt. I mean, it's seeking advice. It's seeking, expertise, which is definitely out of our realm. And I think it's also education. Like I've done a few little finance courses to understand about my business, about sort of equity and like knowing and understanding like when my money comes in, like what I put to superannuation, what I put to tax. And, I'm asked questions because I don't understand it because I've never worked in finance and I don't know too much finance because I, like what it was like living and growing up.
Yeah.
So it's seeking advice and seeking education, I think, and sort of also just like asking questions because you won't know until you ask. And no question is a dumb question with finance. But I'm bougie as well. I'm bougie black fellas. That's what we say. But it's also justifying what a need is and I guess what a want is and sort of just prioritizing what's more important. And I think, making a little go a long way is really important.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes I'm like, oh, I should go eat out. And I'm like, oh, I've got food at home. And now I understand like when your mum used to say, there's food at home.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Oh, well, look, I'm going to do my group therapy and then I'm going to do my financial counselling. I'm going to be a new person come next week.
Oh my God, we're evolving. I feel like from the start of our podcast till now, like when we first did our episodes, to this season, like we've definitely evolved.
There's growth.
I think that's really important. I think also whoever's been listening from the start and till now, like I think we would both see that.
Oh, I love it.
So I'm currently house sitting, and I didn't realise, but my friend who owns this place has a cleaner, and so I'm in the shower. The shower is running and making lots of noise because it's flowing water. And this fella just opens the door and walks in. Like literally to the bathroom while I'm in the shower. With his mop and bucket. I'm like, this is not the time. And it's like he was deaf. Because I was like, I poked my head around the corner of the shower and I'm like, I'm in here. And he was like just looking at me. I was like, you hear the shower. It's on. There's somebody in there. And it freaked me out because, one, I was in the shower, didn't know that the cleaner was arriving. And so all of a sudden I have this 50-year-old Asian fella in my bathroom with a mop and bucket while I'm in the shower.
God.
And I was like, you better get out before I slap you with this thing there.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to Not So PG. Obviously, if you love us, can you please give us a little rating and a little review? If you want to tell us something, you can follow us on socials and slide into our DMs. I know Maddie's DMs are definitely always open.
They're popping.
Just like him.
What?
You can follow him at It's Matty Mills, and you can follow me at Brooke.Blurton, and then also you can follow Nova Podcast Official, where we do our podcast, which is an awesome platform where other podcasts are as well.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.